In the charming town of Willowbrook, characterized by its winding cobblestone streets and picturesque cherry blossom canopies, there lived a young boy named Charlie. Recognizable by his fiery red hair and a smattering of freckles across his cheeks, Charlie was a notable figure within the local community. He was not only known for his exuberant personality but also for his inclination to stretch the truth. In a small town where secrets were scarce and everyone's business was public, Charlie's embellished tales brought a welcome vibrancy to the everyday life of the townspeople. On the outskirts of Willowbrook, in a house painted in a whimsical turquoise color, lived Mrs. Thistle, an elderly woman who was shrouded in a veil of mystery. When she arrived in the town on a brisk morning in the early spring, her presence, along with that of her mysterious black cat, Whiskers, immediately sparked curiosity among the people who lived there. It appeared as though Whiskers, with his sleek fur and striking green eyes, was harboring secrets that were just as profound and incomprehensible as his gaze. Along Cherry Lane, where Charlie resided, the arrival of Mrs. Thistle quickly became a topic of conversation that everyone was talking about immediately. By virtue of its peculiar architecture and verdant garden, her residence gave the impression of having been plucked straight from a fairy tale. Whiskers, who exuded an air of regal authority, quickly became the focus of a great number of local legends and stories. Charlie, in particular, found himself enthralled by the feline, and his natural curiosity quickly led him into an adventure that he had not anticipated. Charlie was on his way home from school when he came across Whiskers basking in the sunlight atop the garden wall. It was a bright and sunny afternoon. Charlie approached the mysterious creature with caution because he was excited about the prospect of gaining more information about it. As soon as the cat became aware of his approach, it immediately took action and dashed through the open door that was located in the backyard of Charlie's house. Charlie made a hasty pursuit of him because he was worried about the mayhem that an untamed cat could cause inside the house. As Whiskers made his way from the kitchen to the living room and then up to Charlie's bedroom, the pursuit intensified inside the house. Whiskers jumped onto a shelf in a desperate attempt to avoid being caught. In the process, he managed to dislodge a jar that contained Charlie's limited but valuable collection of rare coins. As the jar fell to the ground, it shattered, causing coins to be dispersed across the entire room. During the time that Charlie was frantically trying to gather the coins that had been thrown around, his mother's voice reverberated up the staircase, expressing her concern over the noise. To reassure his mother, Charlie quickly pushed Whiskers under his bed and shouted back, "Just cleaning up, Mom." Charlie's quick thinking allowed him to accomplish this. Later that evening, as Charlie was putting away the last of his coins, he came across a coin that he had never seen before. It was a pristine 1922 silver dollar, which was not a part of his initial collection of coins. It dawned on him that it must have been brought over from Mrs. Thistle's house by accident, possibly clinging to Whiskers' fur. This was the realization that struck him. Charlie, who was confronted with a moral conundrum, pondered whether he should keep the shiny new addition or return it and come clean about the events that had transpired throughout the day. By the time the next morning rolled around, Charlie's sense of right had triumphed over his desire to keep the coin. After ensuring that the silver dollar was securely attached to his pocket, he proceeded to Mrs. Thistle's residence. He knocked on her door while mentally practicing his apology. His heart was heavy, and he was filled with nervous anticipation all at the same time. As Charlie recounted the turbulent events and presented Mrs. Thistle with a silver dollar, Mrs. Thistle listened attentively and did not interrupt him at any point through the conversation. "Charlie, honesty is a valuable virtue, much like this coin," she said with a friendly smile on her face as she responded to her question. "You have made the decision to be truthful, which demonstrates a lot of character. I am so pleased with you." Charlie experienced a profound sense of relief as a result of her understanding and the kind words she had spoken to him. Following that, Mrs. Thistle extended an invitation to him to come inside, and she started telling him stories about her extensive collection of coins and antiques. each of which had its own distinct history. This marked the beginning of a series of after-school visits involving Charlie, during which he not only gained knowledge about numismatics, but also gained an appreciation for the importance of honesty and integrity. Over the course of time, these visits had a significant impact on Charlie, helping him develop a profound respect for those who are honest. For the first time in his life, he started to break his old habit of embellishing his stories with the intention of making them more in line with the truth. Not only did Whiskers appear to be aware of this shift, but he also became a constant presence, frequently greeting Charlie on his porch after school. The trust and respect that existed between Charlie, Mrs. Thistle, and Whiskers served as the foundation for the relationship that developed between them. Within the community, Charlie's reputation underwent a transformation. He was no longer regarded as merely a young boy who was prone to telling tall tales. Rather, he was regarded as a young person who was known for his authenticity and dependability. Charlie was sitting in Mrs. Thistle's blooming garden on a beautiful spring day when he reflected on the life lessons he had acquired over the course of his life. He understood that the truth, much like the plants that were all around him, needed to be tended to and nourished in order to flourish. Charlie was filled with gratitude for the mischievous cat, Whiskers, who had inadvertently led him to these important lessons. As he watched Whiskers playfully chase butterflies, Charlie felt grateful for Whiskers. The arrival of the subsequent season of cherry blossoms made it abundantly clear that Charlie had developed significantly, both in terms of his physical appearance and his personality. Having begun as a young boy with a vivid imagination, he had developed into a thoughtful storyteller who placed a high value on the fact that truth is the essence. His stories, which were now infused with sincerity and authenticity, created a deeper resonance with the people who listened to him. It was the beginning of Charlie's journey towards self-improvement that was represented by Whiskers, which appeared frequently in these tales. The transformation of Charlie from a whimsical storyteller into a young man of integrity exemplified the significant influence that honesty can have on the course of a person's life. The lessons that he learned from his experiences with Whiskers remained with him as he continued to mature, serving as a lasting testament to the fact that the truth is, in fact, the most captivating story that one can tell. As Charlie watched the sunset paint the sky with streaks of orange and pink, his thoughts turned to future adventures. Beside him, Whiskers mewed softly, as if eager for their next escapade. Smiling, Charlie imagined the stories they would collect, perhaps even beyond Willowbrook. As the day's final light disappeared, he was reminded that the path ahead, guided by truth and integrity, held endless possibilities. If you enjoyed journeying with Charlie and Whiskers, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales of adventure and the lessons they bring. Who knows where their next story might lead?